The art world never sleeps, and this week 14 names are stealing the spotlight. From young voices making their first big breakthroughs to established stars setting new records, these are the artists everyone's talking about right now. Their works are lighting up galleries, museums, and auction houses across the globe. Make sure you watch till the very end to see who takes the #1 spot, and kindly like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and keeps us bringing you the best from the art world. Anna Weyant. Anna Weyant is a painter born in 1995 in Calgary, Canada. She trained at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, and draws on influences from old masters, think chiaroscuro, soft luminous skin, detailed compositions, but marries that with a contemporary sensibility, young women in moments of vulnerability, awkwardness, interior drama. Her palette tends to be muted yet rich, the lighting moody. There's often a tension between beauty and discomfort in her figures. She's trending because of an extremely rapid rise. Her early works sold for just a few $1,000s a piece, but over the last few years, her auction results have exploded. Pieces she sold years ago for small sums have been resold for well into the six figures. A breakthrough was when Falling Woman sold for about $1.6 million US, vastly exceeding estimates. Also, her joining of Gagosian Gallery, as the youngest artist on their roster at the time, put her firmly in the upper echelon of the art world. Add to that the buzz around her aesthetic, who she is, how she presents her work, and there's almost a mythic quality around her rise. Collectors are anxiously on waiting lists. Every show tends to sell out quickly. Her works feature in major auction house evening sales. On market value for high-profile works, she's operating in the millions. For example, that Falling Woman piece pushed past $1 million. Her painting Summertime, originally sold for modest gallery prices, later resold at auction for about $1.5 million US. Even her smaller works, earlier drawings, or less monumental pieces now fetch tens or hundreds of thousands depending on gallery or collector. She's become a major market presence in a short span. Anna Weyant is interesting because she represents how the contemporary art world is accelerating. Social media, gallery support, auction boom. Her success rests on technical skill, strong visual voice, and the kind of vulnerability resonance that connects. She's part of a new wave of artists whose market rises almost as fast as their visibility, and that makes her both admired and watched very closely. Lucy Bull. Lucy Bull, born in 1990 in New York and now based in Los Angeles, is an abstractionist whose work hits like sensory overload, in the best way. Her canvases are built from layers of color, gesture, and form that pulse and shimmer, creating immersive fields of vision you can lose yourself in. She works in oil on linen, often large scale. Her surfaces have both chaos and control, marks that are scratched, scraped, dragged, and applied in waves. At the same time, there's rhythm, recurring color themes, a push-pull between density and openness. She's trending because in just the past few years, she's gone from being an exciting gallery discovery to a major market star. Her first solo with David Kordansky in 2021 pushed her into serious visibility. She recently had her first US museum show at ICA Miami, the Garden of Forking Paths, where a towering multi-story painting forces the viewer to move with it, ascend stairs, adjust perspective. Her abstraction works both as spectacle and as emotional terrain. People respond to not knowing what they see immediately but feeling something very strongly. Her painterly process is also part of the allure. She often starts with loose gestures and allows the work to dictate its flow, letting marks build up, then subtracting or scratching back, altering texture and depth, creating a kind of visual memory or aura in each piece. On the market front, Lucy Bull's momentum has translated to major prices. Her record went up recently when 1850 2021 sold for about $2.38 million US at Christie's Hong Kong. Another work, 1610 2020, made around $1.81 million US. Smaller works and earlier gallery pieces used to sell in the tens of thousands, but now many of her mid-period paintings are averaging well into six figures. Auction sales in 2022-23 totaled over $10 million US in multiple markets. Collectors are snapping up her work fast. Many pieces exceed their estimates with high sell-through rates. Her works are held by significant museums and galleries. Her exhibitions are international, and demand is strong both in the primary gallery scene and secondary auctions. Jade Fadojutimi. Jade Fadojutimi is a British painter born in 1993 of Nigerian heritage, living and working in London. She studied at the Slade School of Fine Art BA and Royal College of Art MA, and over the past few years has made abstraction her domain. Her works combine sweeping color, energetic mark-making, glimpses of figuration, references from anime and fashion, as well as landscapes of emotion. She describes her painting process as immersive: late nights, fast gestures, layers of emotion, memory, identity. She often works with large canvases that envelop the viewer, using color, line, space, and movement to translate moods, fears, joys, and the flux of experience into visual form. She's trending now because she has broken several significant auction records in quick succession. One of her most talked about works, The Woven Warped Garden of Ponder, 2021, sold in London for roughly £1.6 million, around $2 million, becoming her highest auction result to date. Another work, Quirk My Mannerism, 2021, fetched about $1.94 million in New York in a Phillips sale, far exceeding its high estimate. These results have turned heads in the art world. She is also represented by Gagosian, one of the world's most prominent galleries, which signals her art is being taken seriously at the highest level. Her work is included in important public collections like Tate London, and she is widely discussed in art press, not just for her pricing, but for how her painting feels viscerally alive. Critics praise how she blends abstraction and figuration, how her influences, anime, emotion, color, come through in a way that feels both personal and universal. On market value, her recent auction record is that $2 million price, and many of her works now sell at prices well into six figures. Her earlier or smaller scale works sell for less, but even those are being bid up. The demand is high, sell-through rates strong. Collectors and institutions are increasingly acquiring her larger canvases. Because of her representation by top galleries and her strong institutional profile, the trajectory of her market value looks steep. She is firmly in the tier where each new sale sets expectations for the next. Amoako Boafo. Amoako Boafo is a Ghanaian painter born in 1984 in Osu, Accra, trained first at Ghanata College of Art and Design in Ghana, then at the Academy of Fine Arts in Vienna. What makes his portraits instantly recognizable is the way he layers skin with finger painting, those squiggly tactile strokes that vibrate with color and energy. He paints black subjects with dignity, texture, flamboyance, clothing, posture, background, all contribute to the identity of his figures, not just the face or expression. He's trending right now for several reasons. First, his institutional profile keeps growing. Recent solo shows with Gagosian in London, major museum exhibitions like Soul of Black Folks, which traveled to Houston, prominent gallery representation, and acquisitions by museums like the Tate. He's also been part of high-visibility collaborations, fashion, Dior, even painting panels on Bezos's rocket in 2021. These crossovers amplify his visibility beyond the art world. Second, his style catches the eye. Bright, bold palettes, strong presence of yellow in many of his auction record works. The combination of cultural pride and lush visual energy is resonating both with critics and collectors. He's also committed to supporting artists back home. He launched Ateliers in Accra to give local creatives space and resources, which adds a dimension of purpose and legacy to his rising fame. On market value, Boafo is solidly in the high tier. His work Hands Up, 2018, sold in Hong Kong for about $3.4 million, setting a major auction record for him. Other works like Yellow Blanket, Orange Shirt, and Baba Diop have sold for well over $1 million each. Even smaller, less monumental works have exploded past estimates at major auctions. His work is in great demand, the sell-through rates are strong. Galleries bidding to represent him are top tier, and collectors are chasing both new works and secondary market opportunities. Boafo is trending because he blends aesthetic innovation, finger painting technique, textured color, strong sense of identity, with critical backing, institutional acquisitions, market power, and a strong tie to community and heritage. He's not just flashy success, he's building something sustainable, meaningful, and widely influential. Jeffrey Gibson. Jeffrey Gibson is an American artist born in 1972 of Choctaw and Cherokee heritage, and today he is one of the most important multidisciplinary voices in contemporary art. His work blends indigenous craft traditions with modern painting, sculpture, performance, and installation. He uses materials like beads, fringe, jingles, and elk hide, combining them with bold color and abstract patterns to create art that feels both ceremonial and futuristic. At the heart of his practice is a conversation about identity, history, and resilience, and he delivers it in a visual language that is vibrant, powerful, and unforgettable. He's trending right now because he made history at the 2024 Venice Biennale as the first indigenous artist to represent the United States with a solo exhibition in the US Pavilion. That moment placed him on the global stage. At the same time, his sweeping show, The Space in Which to Place Me at the Broad in Los Angeles, has been captivating audiences, bringing together decades of his work in a way that highlights just how expansive his vision is. Critics and visitors alike point to the emotional punch of his work, how he transforms traditional indigenous forms into contemporary art objects that speak to climate, colonialism, memory, and survival. His art is both deeply personal and universally resonant, which is why his profile has exploded in recent years. On the market side, Gibson has built a strong collector base. His major pieces often sell in the six-figure range at auction, with smaller works entering at tens of thousands and larger, more ambitious works commanding prices that push well into the hundreds of thousands. His reputation is supported by serious institutional backing. His work has been collected by the Smithsonian, the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and many others. Add to that his recognition as a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, and you have an artist whose career carries both cultural weight and market credibility. Luana Vitra. Luana Vitra is a Brazilian visual artist born in 1995 in Contagem, in the mineral-rich state of Minas Gerais. Her upbringing between the industrial landscapes of mining, her father's carpentry, and her mother's engagement with words shaped a practice that merges the physicality of materials with spiritual, political, and emotional concerns. Her work spans sculpture, installation, performance, drawing, always attentive to the textures, sounds, and memory in materials like iron, rust, fabric, minerals, and organic matter. She is trending now because she's had a series of breakout shows that are getting international eyes. In 2025, her solo exhibition, Amulets, at Sculpture Center in New York, gave her first institutional platform in the US, where she transformed the space into a ritual-like environment, bringing minerals off the floor like offerings, creating totemic forms, evoking spiritual presence. Also, her commissioned work, The Beads of My Rosary Are Artillery Bullets in Rotterdam, is part of the National Art Collection in the Netherlands, which is a major recognition. She's been featured in major biennials, Sao Paulo Biennial, Sharjah Biennial, and important awards like the Pipa Prize, Prince Claus Seed Award. Her voices in Brazilian and global media are rising, and critics are praising how she makes the material world, especially the mineral and industrial, feel alive, sacred, wounded, and beautiful. On the market side, the picture is still emerging. There's strong institutional support, residencies, awards, and high-profile commissions, which all boost her value. But she doesn't yet have a track record of big auction results, at least none that are public or well documented. What she has is work in prominent collections and acquisitions like the Hartwig Art Production Vertical Bar Collection Fund in the Netherlands, which means her pieces are being recognized as having long-term cultural and aesthetic value. Collectors increasingly view her practice as one with depth, the craftsmanship, the material research, the spiritual political layering. All those make her work both relevant and potentially high value. Qualeasha Wood. Qualeasha Wood is an American textile artist born in 1996 in Long Branch, New Jersey, now based in Philadelphia. She earned a BFA in printmaking and later an MFA in photography, but her signature work comes from the space where craft, internet culture, identity, and representation collide. She weaves tapestries and tufted pieces that trap fragments of webcam selfies, glitch aesthetics, religious iconography, and symbols from the digital realm, all refracted through her identity as a black femme person, navigating both virtual and real space. She's trending because she's doing something very new and urgent. At a young age, she has already had work acquired by institutions like the Metropolitan Museum of Art, making her among the youngest artists to join their permanent collection. Her solo shows are drawing attention, including TLDR in London, and her representation by Pippi Holdsworth Gallery and Kendra Jane Patrick. Her recent exhibition, Malware in London, explored glitches, digital errors, code compressions, the vulnerability of the online self, and voyeuristic attention. She brings online themes into physical form. Pixels become stitches, screens become textiles, the imperfect edge becomes form and power. Her work speaks to the hypervisibility and surveillance of Black women in digital culture, the pull between self-representation and being objectified, and the emotional weight of being online all the time. On market value, while she doesn't yet have big public auction results, her gallery prices show strong demand. Her works have sold in fairs and galleries in the range of $15,000, $25,000 per piece depending on size and complexity. Her institutional acquisitions, such as by the Met, and growing collector interest from people like Swiss Beats via the Dean Collection, underscore rising confidence in her work's significance and value. Her priced pieces are increasingly coveted. Her representation by strong galleries and her residency with the Studio Museum in Harlem boost not just visibility but market credibility. Cristine Brache. Cristine Brache is an American Puerto Rican Cuban heritage artist born in 1984 in Miami. She works across painting, sculpture, film, poetry, performance, and mixed media. Her materials are often things like encaustic wax, ready-mades, plexiglass, textiles, sometimes obsolete media. She has a sensibility for combining the tactile and the ephemeral. Her work meditates on female identity, broken histories, memory, illness, masking, emotional interiority, and power, especially how society treats women's pain, visibility, suppression, and resilience. She's trending now because she's doing unexpected things that grab attention. One example is her performance piece Goodnight Sweet Thing, which adapts her poetry into live performance, choreography, and film. She's pushing artistic boundaries in form and content, not just painting or sculpture. Her shows in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Puerto Rico have received strong critical writing. She's increasingly included in group exhibitions with themes of gender, identity, body, power in major galleries. Also, her interdisciplinary work, poetry plus visual art plus performance, gives her multiple channels of exposure. People interested in literature, film, performance all intersect with her visual art audience. On market, recognition. While I didn't find large public auction records or very high headline auction numbers for Cristine Brache in my recent search, she does have steady gallery representation and solo shows. Her exhibitions are held in respected galleries, her work is acquired by institutions, for instance in Miami, and collected by individuals who follow emerging critical voices. The value is more in the long game, increasing institutional visibility, strong critical reception, and being part of conversations about identity, body, memory. Her market is rising, but not yet at the $1 million auction tier. She's somewhere in the emerging or mid-career with critical profile bracket. Collectors who care about message plus craft plus interdisciplinarity see her work as valuable. Farah Al-Qasimi. Farah Al-Qasimi is an Emirati artist born in 1991 in Abu Dhabi who lives and works between Dubai and New York. She began her artistic training in photography, later earning an MFA from Yale, but her work stretches beyond just photography into video, performance, public art, installations, always looping back to her upbringing in the Gulf, domestic interior spaces, visual culture, color, pattern, and the sometimes surreal overlap of aspiration, identity, and everyday objects. She's trending now because her work captures something very off now, the tension between visibility and privacy, consumer culture and heritage, spectacle and intimacy. Her series Back and Forth Disco, which placed her photographs in over 100 NYC bus shelters, transformed mundane public space into vivid commentary on immigrant-owned small businesses, beauty, identity. Her installations and exhibitions, like Poltergeist at CO Berlin and Star Machine in Perth, have been drawing attention for their lush color, saturated interiors, surreal compositions, and playful yet piercing observations. A recent public project, Homesickness, along Abu Dhabi's Corniche, uses large oyster shell installations with soundscapes that evoke memory, longing, and the sea, recollecting Gulf cultural heritage, and calls to remembering what is rooted in place. Her selections for fellowships, displays in major institutions, Tate Modern, MoMA, and free public displays are helping her work reach wider audiences beyond gallery circles. In terms of market recognition, she is still more in the rising emerging tier rather than entrenched blockbuster auction record territory, but with strong indicators of growth. Her works are held in collections, including respected public institutions. She is represented by galleries both in the UAE and internationally, and her commissions and public artworks give her visibility. The awards, residencies, fellowships she's received add to her credibility. Because of this, the pricing of her works in galleries and editions is climbing, and the interest from collectors who value social commentary plus aesthetics plus cultural nuance is robust. Somaya Critchlow. Somaya Critchlow is a London-based painter and drawer, born in 1992, who has carved out a striking space in contemporary figurative work. She works largely in paintings and drawings, most often depicting black women, often nude, in moments of self-possession, intimacy, allure, even defiance. Her aesthetic blends soft painterly techniques, historic portrait painting references, Renaissance and Rococo formal touches, but also draws on pop culture, surreal detail, boudoir motifs, wigs, color, flickers of fantasy. She often uses thin paint, layers, subtle color shifts, letting the flesh, the fabric, the interior spaces all carry emotional charge. What's making Somaya Critchlow trend right now is a mix of timing, visibility, and the way her subject matter resonates with current conversations about representation, body, gaze, identity. She had her first UK solo show, The Chamber, at Dulwich Picture Gallery, a major institutional space. That's a big milestone, visiting that gallery space, having her work seen more broadly. Before that, she had Triple Threat, curated by Hilton Owls at the Gallery Maximilian William, which focused heavily on her drawing work. Critics are talking about how her work reconfigures the black female nude. It doesn't shy away from sexuality, but reframes it under her own gaze. Her work is moody, atmospheric, mysterious, seductive, but without pandering. It asks the viewer to reflect. Also, she has been part of important group shows and artists to watch lists, so more people are seeing her work, writing about it, and wanting it. Regarding market value, Somaya Critchlow is still in the emerging/mid-career bracket, meaning she doesn't yet have blockbuster auction records publicly available that some of the highest-selling names have, but her work is being collected, shown, reviewed, and priced by respected galleries. Her gallery pieces, especially drawings and mid-sized paintings, are fetching sums that reflect serious interest, and her shows are selling well. Because her visibility is rising through solo shows in major galleries, institutional recognition, critical acclaim, the expectations of her market value are increasing too. Collectors who want work that combines conceptual depth, strong visual presence, and cultural relevance are showing interest. Alioune Diagne. Alioune Diagne is a Franco-Senegalese painter born in 1985 in Kaffrine, Senegal. He studied at the École Nationale des Arts de Dakar and now splits his time working between Senegal and France. Diagne is the creator of a style he calls figuro abstro, which he began developing around 2013 after the death of his grandfather. His works are built from thousands of small abstract signs inspired by calligraphy and fragments of memory. Up close, these signs look chaotic or pattern-like. From afar, they coalesce into recognizable figurative scenes, markets, migrant boats, everyday life in Senegal, and the complex experience of diaspora. He's trending right now because of several major breakthroughs. Diagne was chosen to represent Senegal in its first national pavilion at the Venice Biennale. His exhibitions On Dos Glint at the Musée des Beaux-Arts de Rouen, Sade with Galerie Templon, and his show Joku in New York turned heads for combining cultural urgency, political voice, and aesthetic innovation. In these works, he tackles such issues as migration, environmental degradation, the exploitation of natural resources, and the tension between tradition and modernity, all through his figuro abstro language. His subject matter is deeply engaged, but his style is also beautiful and richly textured, which makes his work accessible and powerful. On market value, his works have moved into strong gallery sale territory. One example is June Marchand Ambulant 2022, a large oil on canvas listed in the price range of about €70,000 in a gallery showing. He's won awards too, most notably the Public Vote Prize of the Norval Sovereign African Art Prize in 2023. Collectors are paying attention, galleries are backing him, institutions are acquiring his work. While he may not yet have auction records like some of the highest value global contemporaries, his combination of critical acclaim, visibility in major international shows, artist representation, and growing sales means his market is rising fast. Amanda Shingirai Mushate. Amanda Shingirai Mushate is a Zimbabwean visual artist born in 1995 in Bulawayo who lives and works in Harare. She trained at the National Gallery of Zimbabwe Visual Arts Studios, certified in 2016, and was mentored by Gresham Tapiwa Niaude. From early on, she has focused on abstraction and mixed media that blend vibrant color, looping line work, and emotional textures. Her canvases often feel like maps of relationships, memory, and identity, joyful, burdened, playful, urgent. Amanda is trending right now for a few strong reasons. First, her exhibitions have been stepping up. She recently had her second major solo show, Ingoma Kamama Wami, A Song to My Mother, at the National Gallery of Zimbabwe. It's her first time having a solo show at that institution, which is a milestone. That body of work is deeply personal, honoring her mother, exploring maternal strength via painting and sculpture, even using synthetic hair as part of her sculptural interventions. It shows growing maturity in both concept and form. She's also been part of group exhibitions in international fairs and major galleries, Art Dubai, Paris International, Tiwani Contemporary in London, Investec Cape Town Art Fair, and others. Her work is getting seen by collectors in Cape Town, New York, London, Paris, Amsterdam. She's also publicly recognized as a role model, young woman, artist, and mother in a male-dominated field, balancing creation, caretaking, identity. On market value, her art is still emerging, but pricing is showing serious potential. Larger paintings in bigger international galleries, for example her pieces in Cape Town, London, etc., sell for several $1,000s. Works like Zvodiwa or Vengamhuka, Like an Animal, have been listed around $4,500 US, $8,000 US. Private collectors are buying. International exposure is helping increase demand. Her participation in fairs and acquisition into private collections globally means her trajectory is upward.